Hello, everybody. Welcome to another, another episode of Dragonmount DIY. I'm your host, Maureen, or Mashiara, depending on where you know me from. So today I'm super excited. We're going to be working on garden paver book covers. And so I've seen these a lot online, and they're super, super cute. And of course, so we just had to make wheel time themed ones. So I'm going to hop on over and show you a couple of examples I did. So whenever I do a craft, I always practice it beforehand, just because that's how a crafter typically works. So I just wanted to show you what these generally look like, and it's the one we're doing today is Wheel of Time theme, but I did a couple other themed ones. So this is one I did. It's based on the book called Widdershins, which was written by Jordan L. Hawk. So what these are is they're just pavers that I bought at Lowe's that are $1.56 a piece. So $1 for this, like amazing, great deal. They're about, I think I said 6 inches by 9 inches and about a little over an inch thick. So just like concrete pavers, kind of like stepping stones or what you would use to put in your garden in the backyard. So we're just going to put these, once they're done, out in the front yard with our plants. And I got a couple little ducks and things out there. So just, spice up the outdoor space a little bit by showing off some of our favorite books. So this is a fantasy romance novel, Widdershins by Jordan L. Hawk. Fantastic book, one of my favorites after The Wheel of Time. And so I did something kind of inspired by the books. This is not an actual book cover, but Widdershins, of course, means rotating counterclockwise, I think. Something like that. I don't know. So, so I did this. So I just painted the cover black. I got the sides, I painted white. And then I used a Sharpie to draw lines to be the pages. Obviously, I could have done a better job. I'll try a little bit better on the one we do today. So just nice, simple, easy, but super cute. It's a super good statement. And then so the other one I made, just as an example, is this one. So I asked my spouse what his favorite book was, and he said Last Exit to Brooklyn, which was really exciting because the cover was so easy to do. So it was just yellow, and the arrow, easy peasy. Not the best job with the lettering at the bottom, but you know what? It doesn't need to be perfect. I will say that over and over and over. If we're doing crafts, the point is that we're enjoying ourselves and letting our creativity flow. So again, I drew with the Sharpie. It didn't turn out super great. So I prepped the one for today. I just did a blue cover. I was thinking Eye of the World, which, has that pretty memorable cover, with Lana Moraine and the moon and the Drakkar. Obviously that's going to be a little bit too tricky for me to paint. I think maybe eventually I could work up to being able to paint that, but I think we're going to hold off for today. So instead, what I was thinking we could do is the covers that are the Orbit covers. So these are the covers that were released in the UK. And all the books are pretty similar to this. You can see all of the covers at Dragonmount.com in the gallery. It has all the UK covers. They're very, very simple, but also kind of classic and also kind of easy to paint, which is what I'm going for. So I'm going to do it blue. Oops, sorry. But we're going to do Eye of the World. So you can see on the screen, the Eye of the World is kind of like that beigeish color. It's got the snake and the wheel, and then just the writing. So that's what I'm going to do. But, if you want to try this, it's really just whatever your brain and heart tells you to do. Okay, so I have this just prepped. It's just painted blue. I did the white on the edges. And I also really like that these pavers have these little ridges because it looks like a bound book. If I had more time, I would definitely file off the ones on the sides too, but that's okay. So quickly, let's go over what we need. So I got a plate with lots of different paint brushes. I used this one to cover the whole thing. So just I did 2 coats with blue on this one. I did 3 coats of the yellow on the other, and then 2 coats of black on the first one we looked at. But I used a sponge one because it was a lot easier to cover the whole thing with that. Okay, and then I have like a bazillion million other types of brushes, whatever we're going to need. I think we're going to use the littler ones. So probably just like, I don't know, those 2. But anyway, the point is to have options. I've got a lot to choose from. Okay, and then I got a plate that we're going to mix our paint on. I did grab a pencil in case we need to, actually I'll use this one. Draw a rough outline on the book cover. And then I just have Artist Loft paint. I grabbed it in blue, white, yellow, red, and black. So we can mix pretty much any color we want with these colors. And I just got them at Michael's. They were super cheap. They were like $4 a piece, if even that much. I don't remember exactly, but not too tricky, not too expensive, especially, and it's a pretty big size. And then always, 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 when working with paint, you need your cup of water to rinse off any paint once we're done with it. Okay, so first thing I want to do, let's look at that cover again. So since I'm doing blue, I think I'll do the snake in black, but I don't mind keeping the Eye of the World in red. Maybe that's going to be too red and blue. Let's just mix some colors and see what happens. So we're just using this as inspiration. I'm not going to copy it 100%. So we might even want to put the snake more centered instead of off to the side. I don't know. Well, we're just going to dive right in. We're just going to see. So I'm going to make up my plate that's going to have just all the colors. And then just, a little bit lumpy. I guess I didn't clean it very well after I used it the last time. So also you will need paper towels. I grabbed paper towels too. Always best to have that handy. When working with paints. Gross. And I don't know that I've used the white yet. Yes, I did. Okay, good. Beautiful. All right, all set. So I'm going to move those off to the side. And I'm going to put my book cover right back in the middle. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, and then I just want to basically just sketch real lightly where I think everything should go. All right, so it looks like the wheel is off to the side. Book 1 in one of his little loops. I love that. That's really cool. I don't know that I can fit the Wheel of Time up at the top, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to try to put my snake over here. So I'm just going to outline the quick wheel. And then the snake was just 2 loops, kind of looks like Mickey Mouse, of course. Like that, not too tricky. The Eye of the World, sorry. Okay, and then looking at the details of the wheel, of course it's 7 spokes, sorry. Hopefully we remember that. 7 spokes. I should have got a protractor. Okay, so it looks like one was going up. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's not quite right. But it'll do. Okay. So I think that's a good place to start. I'm going to look real quick again at where the snake passes over, which sides go in front, which sides go behind. And there, of course, is his face right here in the center as he's crossing over and eating his tail. Oh, there's a lizard outside. Cute. All right. One more time at the... All right, so it goes under the wheel, and then he's over the wheel. Okay, so the only one that's under looks like the left-hand side. Okay. So best thing to do, just go for it. Like, let's just go for it. Okay, so I think I'll start just with white and kind of like start sketching everything in, just so we've got a jumping off point. And then we can put more details on. Sorry, let me move my microphone closer. I apologize for that. Hopefully that's a little bit better now with the volume. So anyway, we're going to just dive right in. Just give it some bones, I guess, and then we'll add onto it. All right, so this one, it was under. So I'm going to just try to make sure it looks like it's under here. And you can see, since this is that kind of concrete, it's very bumpy, maybe is the word. There's lots of crevices, so it's not going to turn out exactly perfect with all the ridges being filled in, and that's okay. Again, I just want to stress that this is for fun, for creativity, for recharging those batteries. Sometimes it's just nice to not worry that it's perfect. All right, and then when we crossed over here, it was pretty much everything just went in front of the wheel. Now we'll just try to mirror it on the other side. This is where the head and body kind of pass each other. Oh, it totally does look like Mickey Mouse right now. So art to me is just, I don't know, it's just so fulfilling. I'm very much a crafter, but it's not often I get to do things besides crochet. Like my major thing I do is crochet. So having this outlet, once a month I get to do something kind of outside the box, has been super, super nice. And I mentioned before that I'm a teacher. I teach fourth grade. And I am super wanting to do like a craft day with my coworkers. Just like, hey, fellow adults who wants to go make spooky things. Yeah, that kind of looks a little crummy right there, but that's okay. And I haven't decided to do it yet, but I'm very, very tempted to be like, hey, who wants to come together and like do some crafty things with me? Like, I don't know if I'm a typical adult that wants to do crafts or if I'm the odd adult and everybody else is like, why on earth would you as an adult want to do crafts? So I guess there's only one way to find out. Okay, this one I'm going to pass in front of that wheel. Okay, I'm super not happy with how crooked that is, but as I said, you got to let it go. It does not need to be perfect. And at my campus where I teach, I do have a crochet club where I teach 3rd and 4th graders, so 8 and 9-year-olds how to crochet. And one of the lessons we have to learn really early on is that at first our crochet looks like blobs. So our very first lesson, all we did was make blobs because we were just making a chain. But when you're 8 years old or 9 years old and making a chain, yeah, it's definitely just a blob. And so everybody's like, "Oh, look at my blob. Oh, look at my blob." But I think every student successfully came away with a bracelet, so, it was something. But, just embracing that, it's gonna look like a blob at first, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it looking like a blob. So I'm just gonna make these a little bit darker. This is just very therapeutic too. Just focusing on slow movements and, just breathing nice and easy. Feeling very Bob Ross right now. Just embrace those accidents. And then once I get this basic shape done, then I think I'll go back and I'll start looking at the details, specifically of the face of the snake. Like that's going to be my main focus is that we try to get that looking really like a snake. So it doesn't look like a Mickey. All right, so I'm going to pause right there and pull back up my image. All right, so it looks like a throwing star kind of in the middle there. Those spokes look really cool. So just kind of circle in the middle and the spokes. I mean, I guess there's not really much else you can do for that. Okay, so I'm going to put my spoke in the middle. Sorry, my whatever that center of the wheel is called. I don't know what it's called. And then I'm going to try to just, I don't think I've got the right brush to do accurate. Ooh, that's too much paint right there. To do too many details with this. That's okay. Double check that we have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, good. I think that's the most important thing is that we have 7. So I might find a smaller brush just so I could get that a little bit pointier, but I think it's fine. Okay, it doesn't look super bad. Okay, kind of it does, but that's all right. Again, it does not need to be perfect. That looks weird. Does that look better now? Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. That corner right here is just terrible looking, but that's okay. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to think about how the snake's face is. So the snake's face comes this way, and it's a little bit thicker with his teeth. So maybe we should switch to black and kind of try to outline that. Okay, so I'm going to put that brush in the water and I'm going to find one that's smaller. I'm going to let that just sit for a second and dry a little bit. And I'm going to look for a very small brush. Which one is the smallest? Guess it's this one. Okay, yeah, this is definitely smaller than the one I had. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for a second. Maybe we should switch to, what is that? Working on some of the letters. All right, so if I got that, I want the I right there. The I think I might put of the world, and then I can fit Robert Jordan down there. Okay, I think I want to just jump in and go with the black for the spokes. Okay. No, we'll do the lettering first. We will let that dry. That looks super wet. All right, so I rinsed off my brush. Dab it on my washcloth. Okay, so I'm going to just start doing. So I really like that color red. It almost looks like our Dragonmount color red. So I don't know if I can mix black and red. Does that make something? So I'm just going to try it. I don't know. I don't know how to mix colors. So that just made like a brown. Definitely not the color I wanted. What happens if I grab a little white of white? No, it's a light brown. That's like mauve. Okay. Definitely not the color I wanted. What if I add more red? It's a little bit better. Definitely not that nice dark red I wanted, but that's okay. It's very plum. So black and red and white make plum. If I add yellow, that would make orange. If I add blue, that would make purple. I guess I should have grabbed a color wheel. All right, so I'm just going to kind of swirl that. Get some of that off my paint brush. Okay. All right, let's just dive right in. All right, we're going to do the up here. Oh, I should have used the other brush. That's okay. Oh, shit. Is it all capitals or is it not all capitals? It is all capitals. Okay. Oh, I got out of focus. All right. This color's terrible. That's okay. We might just have to go over it with black, and that's all right too. Does not have to be perfect. Does not have to be perfect. Okay, if you're trying something similar, definitely keep repeating that to yourself. Yeah, that looks not that great. Does not need to be perfect. Okay, not so bad, not so bad. All right, and then world is just going to be a little bit bigger. World. Okay, not so bad. Do it a little bit more. Like a second coat-ish in some of these little letters. I'm totally not a big fan of that F. Let's see if I can get that to be a little bit more defined. Mm. I don't know. It kind of looks like the original American cover. I don't know why it's giving me those vibes, the dark blue, and I don't know why this color, if that's the actual color that's used on the original cover, but it looks pretty good to me. Okay. Now, do we want to write Robert Jordan with the same color or different color? Let's do a different color. All right. So I'm going to grab my smaller brush and I'm going to try to put more detail on this part. It looks dry now. So when we're looking at that snake's face, it kind of comes down this way. and it's open. Kind of like that. You can't see, but I just drew a little snake face. So I'm okay. I don't know. I'm just going to dive right in. I might just grab some white and black and make it more grayish. Maybe so it's not such a harsh contrast. Like a dark gray if I can get it. Okay, full disclaimer, I have no idea what I'm doing. Just kind of play around and see what feels right. Okay, so I'm going to, this is the painstaking part because once we start using black, it's going to be like, you can't even tell. Okay, well, let's start with this face. So we're just going to outline the snake face. Totally does not look like a snake. That's okay. I know it's a snake, and that's what matters. Okay, just going to outline this a bit. Okay, then how did his tail go? That one's on top, that one's on the bottom. All right, so this is the one we've got coming from his mouth like this. And then this one's going underneath that, but over the wheel. Oh, I see I made a mistake with that. So we can go back and we can fix this. No, actually, if I just paint this really thick, I think it'll cover that up. It won't look so bad. There we go. Okay. Definitely not going to be the best thing I ever painted, but is it making me very happy? Yes. I always come back to Marie Kondo. Does it spark joy? Yes. Yes, this sparks joy. Oh, it's actually really cute. Okay. I'm not too terribly upset right now. Okay, I'm just going to paint in between those spokes. And then in the middle. Okay. It's all right. This little wonky piece over here is just hilarious. Okay. Keep on moving on. All right, let's put an eyeball. I'm going to use just the tiniest tip to try to give him an eyeball right there. So he looks more like a snake. Yay. Okay, now he looks like a snake. That's not so bad. This is a little thick right here, so I might go back over that with some whites a little bit later and make it a little bit thicker, the white parts. We can definitely do some touch-ups there. Now, do we want to try to outline the eye of the world? Or do we just want to leave it? Decisions. Doesn't look super bad on the screen. The gray's kind of hard to see on the blue. I'm so sorry. I'm just like thinking out loud. That's just the things in the way. All right, so we can write book 1. I don't think I could fit book 1 here. Okay, I'm going to say that we just write Robert Jordan down here. Do we want to use the same gray? Is it too dark? Right, what if we lighten up the gray now? Right, so I'm just going to take that color I had and I'll just lighten it. See if that's any better. All right, that's still in my way. Thingy. All right, there we go. Da, 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 da. I don't know that I'm going to have enough room. I think I wrote it too big. Yeah, Jordan's definitely not going to fit there. I'll put it underneath. Ooh, damn. I messed that up. That D looks like an O. Don't worry, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. Okay. Trying to make that more pointy to obviously be a D. Make this more round to obviously be an O. Give that R a little bit more space. Okay. Not crazy bad. Okay, so I do think this needs more work. I don't know if we want to try to lighten it or what. Okay. Let's move on. I want to write the Wheel of Time up at the tippy top, just like it is here. We're going to start all the way over to the side, though, so we have enough room. The Wheel of Time. It should be fine. Again, we're just doing our best. Right, Wheel of Time. Okay. Oops. I got paint all over my hand. That was stupid. Wheel. Make sure we're spelling it correctly. Okay. Not bad so far. Except it looks like it's slanting upwards, but that's okay. Wheel of Tim. That would be hilarious. Okay, that's not so bad. I don't know. It's a little lackluster, but now I'm afraid of doing too much poking at it and ruining it just a bit. I'm gonna just add a little bit of this lighter gray here. Just a little bit of detail. Not detail, I don't know. Accents? I don't know. Contrast? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the white and put a little bit more white on some of these things. Maybe I can add some white to the letters. All right, so my gray's a little damp still, so I'll be careful going over this. Oops. I just don't like how these spokes look like they're not touching the wheel. Those ones shouldn't, so it just has to go up to there, and up to there, and up to there. Mm, Let me hop on over. This one more time. Sorry, let's check and see. All right, so we've got snakes, not that great, but that's all right. I don't think I can fit book one in the snake's little twisted body. All right, what do we think about this? I might ruin it, but okay. So remember that color we had that was this? I'm going to lighten it even more. Now it looks pink, but that's okay. super pink, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to try to, I don't know, maybe just go over this again. It's super pink. That's okay. No need to panic. I think it's kind of cute. Right? Other than this part right here, I think it's okay. It definitely is too dark. So I'm going to rinse off my brush and I'm going to grab some white. And I think I'll retrace the other words too. So I still got some white. We're just going to retrace this. Well, it definitely pops a lot more. Oh, okay. Whoops. Okay, do the same for this up here. And they also had larger paving stones. So if you feel the mood to do something more grandiose with a lot more details, I think a bigger stone or concrete little paver would be a great opportunity for that. But I love that these only cost me like $1.50. It's like $1.57. Okay. Okay, that's not so bad. I think it gets it gets the point across. It's the Wheel of Time. The title's The Eye of the World, and Robert Jordan is the author, and it's got something to do with a snake that's caught in a spokes of a wheel. So, real quick, since I want to show you how you can paint the edges to look more like book pages. So again, in the originals that I did, I used a Sharpie, and it didn't turn out super great. So I'm going to try doing it with paint instead. So as long as I keep it tilted like this, this that's drying should be fine. So I'm going to grab my small brush again. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit if I can. Right. So I'm going to hold it. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to do really thin lines. And when I did it, whoops, keep painting this thing. When I did it with a Sharpie, I tried to do one straight line all the way across, but I think if I do it kind of like, you know, random, just like the hint of pages, it might look a little bit better. I don't know how to make my hand not shake. Doesn't look so bad in person, but on the camera it looks kind of gross. But looking at it like this, it's really not too bad. Oops. A little bit too thick, but that's okay. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Hmm. Right. Ugh, that's not too bad. So angle it so you can see a little bit better. This looks like pages, I think. Okay, and then I'm going to do the sides, but again, I want to not touch too much of the wet paint, so I'm going to hold it like this. How am I going to hold it? Like this, and I'm just going to try to paint the sides real quick. I think I need camera set up at different angles so I can get more of this, but that's okay. That's a problem for another day. Okay, it's not super bad. Right, kind of looks like pages. Right, and then the last side. And the good thing about this is the acrylic paint dries super fast. So, other than what I just stuck in my hand. So this should be dry in just a minute. But literacy week is a big deal at most school campuses. It typically falls around the time of Dr. Seuss's birthday. And we just do a week of, literacy activities. And I think this would be something fun to do with the kids. Maybe not necessarily bricks. My fourth graders are the biggest kids on campus, so I bet they could handle bricks, but I don't know if it's the smartest thing giving fourth graders bricks. So, but it would be a fun activity to do. Paint book covers with them. I remember when I was in fourth grade, a long, long time ago, for Literacy Week, we got to go outside the school and paint with chalk on a section of the sidewalk around the school our favorite books. And I did Hank the Cowdog. I'm trying to remember what the author was. Erickson, I think was his last name. And I just loved those books. So it's a complete series about a cow dog named Hank, as the name implies. Okay, there we go. Put it there to dry. Awesome. Not too tricky. All right, so I think this is more or less done. I think it's okay. Again, not the most perfect thing I've ever seen. Sorry, let me try to get it to focus again. This thing is super in my way. And I apologize, but that's okay. So this will be put in my garden out in the front yard. We've got some rocks and some bushes out there, and I have like a little snail planter out there, and I've got like a little dachshund figurine out there. So I'll add these 3 book covers. Actually, I might take this one to school just so the kids can see it. I think they might be interested in it. The Wittersham ones I will not take because it's not school appropriate. And then the Last Exit to Brooklyn, I'm assuming, is also not school appropriate because my husband is a film critic, analyst, film historian. I don't know what his technical title is. I'm sure it's a a doozy. The movie was based on the book, and I'm sure the book is just as not safe for work as the book. So so yeah, maybe I'll take this one to school to show the kids. Yeah, you can't really see the eyeballs. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. There he is. Okay, you can see the eyeball of the little snake. He's not so bad. And so the last thing I would suggest is if you live in a place with a lot of weather, putting a sealant on this. So they do have outdoor sealants that are made for like outdoor mosaics or anything like that. So putting a sealant on it would help if you get weather, but we get rain here like 3 times a year. I'm not going to bother with it. I'm just going to put them out and have them be super cute in my yard. So I think that wraps up this episode. I want to thank you for joining me. This one was another quick one. Last week was also a quick one. So I don't know, kind of shows that you can squeeze in a craft in an hour in an afternoon, or sorry, morning on the weekend. Just keep your creative juices flowing. Just find that spark of inspiration and run with it. It's very fulfilling. For me personally, it fills my bucket whenever I'm able to do some crafts like this. So for next month, I was thinking I wanted to do another crochet pattern. And so I'm thinking either I found a pattern that makes like a almost like a plaid. It's kind of like it intersects with the granny cluster, granny square stitch. And I think we could do it with the 7 Aja colors. So that's something I'm looking into. Or another thing we can do is we can try a mixture of crocheting and weaving, which I've done before. So at one point I tried to do, if you've ever seen the TV show Good Omens, they have the angel Aziraphale has a canon type of tartan he wears because he's Scottish. And so there's they call it Heaven's Tartan, and it's just like a series of colors. So anyway, so I did crochet like a sample of a little tartan, like table runner type thing. And you crochet the base, but then you weave it in, so it gives it that nice like little plaid tartan pattern. And I think that would also be cool with the Aja colors. I tend to favor more of the Aes Sedai centric stuff. So that's something I'm thinking of for next month. And I might even post it on our Patreon account and let our Patreon subscribers decide or vote if they have a preference of which one would be more fun to see. One of them is, like I said, the granny cluster, and it'll make just like a little rectangle. And then the other one is done with like filet crochet, which we've done before, which would be fun as well. But then it does involve a lot of weaving, which could be fun. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and don't forget to check out Dragonmount.com for more stuff about Wheel of Time, the books, the TV show. There's still discussions going on. Our Patreon, we bring you lots of content. Right now, our rewatch is doing X-Men 97. So if you haven't been joining that, it's on Mondays. Please check it out. It's been a lot of fun. So have a great rest of the Saturday, and thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.